This show contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Movies with Ron, movies with Ron.
Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Movies with Ron.
So we got these Purge movies. There's 3 of them now. They're coming out with a prequel. The first Purge.
The first Purge.
A purgeology.
They kind of wrote themselves into a corner after the third one. It's all prequels from here on out.
Yeah.
But anyways, all we hear about in these Purge movies is murder. People with guns, they're diamond-studded AK-47s. It's all about killing. And you could do any crime you want. It's all about purging that evilness.
Yes, for 24 hours.
Yeah. I don't think they're showing the full potential of the purge in these movies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much other crime.
Yeah, you could throw shit at anyone you want.
I see what you're getting at. They only focus on murder. I just want to fish in the pond out back.
Throw a big Ziploc bag full of diarrhea.
Welcome to episode 96 of Movies with Ron, the podcast where my older brother recaps a movie he saw from beginning to end. For me and you, because we like his versions better. It's okay if you've seen the movie. It's okay if you haven't seen it. The experience is unique. So let's get it on. I'm Chris, your MC for the time being. Here with me tonight, our sound guy Rick.
Hey-o.
And here he is, folks.
He's the ball cracker, death on foot. You know him, you love him. He's Ron. Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, guys.
Good job last week on Ready Player One.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Rick, you remember.
Yeah, totally.
Do you think they release it on Easter weekend because it's a movie about finding Easter eggs?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, I never made that connection. I got an issue, though. These treadmills that they use when they're in the game world.
Well, we only saw Wade using it.
Yeah, you had like people running in the streets playing the game and stuff.
Yeah, even the big bad guy was just sitting in a big chair the whole time.
So why use the treadmill?
Yeah.
What if you have to sit down in the game? They go to that nightclub, and the bounty hunter goes up to that table, and all the girls are sitting down. Do you have to, like, squat?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be like, the moral of the story is like, you gotta get outside, get some exercise. I think playing that game is some pretty good calisthenics. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Straining some ligaments there, like sitting down, doing jump kicks. If your character does everything you do while you're wearing all that shit.
Well, there's got to be a line drawn somewhere. You know, like the guy turns into the Gundam robot and he's like flying around and jumps way up to Mechagodzilla, slashes into his head and shit. Yeah, you can't do that in the back of the mail van, so.
Yeah, what gives?
I think we just proved he never needed the treadmill.
What was the point of the treadmill then?
Eye candy?
Yeah, okay.
Because if everybody needed this treadmill, that means all those people in the streets that are joining the big battle, they actually have to be running and walking. They're, going right into traffic. Getting run over, zeroed out for real.
But they're still wearing the headset, so their avatar is still in the game.
Just like laying down.
You're just playing this battle, and then you see your friend like, fly away! On a different note, Terry Gilliam is finally getting to make The Man Who Killed Don Quixote.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Are you guys aware of the legacy of him trying to make that movie? He tried to make it with like an authentic Italian old actor. The other main role was Johnny Depp, the younger guy. Anyways, they got so far into shooting, and the old actor like couldn't ride the horse. Like it was breaking his body.
Yeah.
And the location they were at, there was like a flash flood, and it ruined all their sets. And the only thing that came out of The Man Who Killed Don Quixote was a documentary, because there was a crew there filming everything.
Oh.
And it was more like it turned into their story.
Yeah.
Well, someone finally gave him a second shot.
Is Johnny Depp going to play the old man now?
He should have.
Why don't I play both parts?
But no, the younger guy is actually Adam Driver.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Who now has got to work with, like, every famous director who ever existed. He was in a Scorsese movie. He was in a Spielberg movie.
What Spielberg movie?
You know, The Thing. He's worked with every famous director.
Except Spielberg.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, give him time.
All right, A Quiet Place.
Yeah, man. This movie was good.
Directed by and starring John Krasinski.
Yes.
Yeah. What do we think of him?
I have learned lately that I am alone in not particularly liking him.
You're not alone.
Well, everyone I talk to, they're all like, what? Don't you watch The Office?
Yeah, I'm more of a Parks and Rec guy myself.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think Hollywood likes him either. Like, he's tried out for so many major roles.
He just got Jack Ryan in the new series.
Oh, yeah, Jack Ryan. That's exciting.
I realize that it's not exciting, but it's still like kind of a big deal.
Yeah, sure. I mean...
But I heard that he's going to play Jack Ryan, and I was like, what? He's like the nice guy of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Front lawn. But then I heard about this movie called 13 Hours. Anybody seen that?
Yes.
Is he in it?
He is.
I hear it's quite a change for him.
He got really muscly.
Oh, he pulled a Pratt.
And remember, he's sharing a script with like 12 other big muscly guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a John Krasinski movie.
Well, yeah, I knew that.
But,
Doesn't it prove he's got range? This is what I'm told.
it proves he can work out.
Well, this movie proves the man can grow a beard.
I feel like I still have to defend him, though, because Candy's not here.
Oh, yeah, man.
I was looking forward to it.
She loves him. She sends him fan mail and everything.
Fuck yeah, she does. She loves that big schnoz. I almost said noggin. He's got a big nose.
She would say, I love his schnoz.
But he was supposed to be Captain America, because he was like, Chris Evans was the Human Torch, I'm Captain America. He didn't get it.
Why would he?
He was in a couple major movies while he was in the office. He was riding that buzz. But here's the thing. The only other major movie I know he was in was that Cameron Crowe movie, Aloha. He didn't have any lines in that movie. He played a quiet guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now he gets this script that he loves. He puts his wife in it. He wants to star in it. He's also directing. Nobody talks in the fucking movie. Or at least that's what I hear.
Well, there is a little bit of talking. But here's the thing about A Quiet Place. Most of the relevant conversations in this movie take place with sign language. And it works.
Oh, yeah?
Like, he did a great job with this movie. He's in it with his wife because it struck a chord in his heart, you know, the script, because they are like kind of new parents. They got 2 kids. And this movie is all about parents protecting their children. So they both felt really passionately about it.
Are they like really Christian in the movie?
No.
Oh. Because I would think like, if you're in a world like that,
You better believe in God, baby.
you better wear condoms. You don't want a crying baby around. Come on. I don't want to give too much away, though.
Yeah, they deal with that.
Okay. There's a movie coming out this year called The Silence, starring Stanley Tucci and a couple of other maybe faces you've heard of.
Uh-huh.
Exact same plot.
There's monsters?
Yeah. Don't make a sound or the monsters will get you.
What the hell's going on
It's
here?
called The Silence. I think this is like a Armageddon Deep Impact situation going on here.
Yeah. The
And
Abyss, Deep Star 6, and Leviathan. Turns out, The Abyss was not first.
Yeah.
A Quiet Place probably wasn't first either.
It wasn't, because The Silence, coming out in 2018, was based on a novel by Tim Leben.
Meaningless to me.
No, we're seeing the second-rate version of the story. You know what I mean?
No.
He wrote the novel, they started making The Silence, and then some studio was like, Quiet Place, all right, let's do it.
But there's this whole thing online about how the two guys that wrote the script for this movie made the story up, wrote a 10-page treatment. That's what sold it. So then they wrote the whole script. John Krasinski found it, wanted to make it. Somebody gave him some money and then told him to rewrite that script.
All right.
Who the fuck's Tim Levin?
Well, his novel was called The Silence, but not to be confused with the 2010 movie, The Silence. Have you guys seen that shit? This is completely unrelated.
No.
But you have to see The Silence from 2010.
Yeah.
It's kind of a true crime thing. Murder, molestation, shit going on. Oh, man, it's serious. Good movie, though.
This movie's serious.
But A Quiet Place, I heard the original screenplay only had one line of dialogue, which makes me think,
Doing the ping?
seeing such a quiet movie like this in the theater.
Oh, man, it was weird.
I don't know. See, I think it could go either way. Like, maybe you got talkers, people screaming. I don't know.
This movie makes you be quiet.
Yeah?
Yes.
So everyone kind of followed suit, you know?
Yeah, I know I did. Had a big full bag of popcorn at the end. Now, seriously, there are parts in this movie that are so deathly silent. You like, do not pick up your drink.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And when you cough, you feel guilty. You're like, oh man, I would never survive in this world.
That's kind of like any underwater scene for me, where somebody's got to dive and hold their breath.
Yeah, I usually try to hold my breath too.
Yeah.
It almost never works.
I'm pretty good at it.
All right, Rick, do it. Starting now.
No.
See how long it can go.
1,
You got it queued up?
2, go.
All right. Oh, thank God. Isn't he such a prick?
I know. He's like always late, and he just misses shows.
He missed Ready Player One?
Dude, the Spielberg movie of the year. Come on.
Fuck yeah, dude. I gotta go see that.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know what to tell you to go see, that one or this one.
Fuck you, Rick.
He's breathing.
No. He's still... I can see him.
Oh, fuck you. All right, folks. Zip your lips and tweak your nips, because it's time
To eat your chips. Do some flips.
Gyrate your hips.
Gyrate your body.
because it's A Quiet Place on Movies with Ron.
It's showtime. Get the people out! Come on! Get the people out!
Day 89. And we are in an abandoned small town. So this town, abandoned, but not much damage is done to it. But there is, right in the foreground, a smashed down traffic light. So, end of the world.
Okay.
And we're on the main street of this small town, and we get a shot of the missing persons wall. Missing posters, people leaving notes for each other, stuff like that. And it is, of course, totally quiet.
Yeah.
And now we travel inside an abandoned drugstore, and there's like all kinds of empty shelves, but they're not all empty. Like all the food that makes noise, that's still there, like bags of chips.
Oh.
And then this tiny little kid just like tick, 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 runs across the frame, and he's barefoot. We start to see his, siblings. We got a family, ladies and gentlemen. And they are looting the store. They're also all barefoot. So they can tiptoe,
Yeah.
We got this tiny little boy named Bo. And then his big sister Regan walks in. She's kind of watching over him. Now, Regan is played excellently by Millicent Simmons. Easily steals every scene she is in.
Oh, yeah?
She is like the most adorable little girl you ever seen in your life. We see she's wearing a cochlear implant. You guys know what that is?
Yeah.
A what, Lear?
Cock.
Gotcha. She's deaf?
She's deaf. And the actress is actually deaf.
Oh, okay.
I think. Now we see Emily Blunt, who is, of course, like any good mother, going through the drugs in the pharmacy. Her name is Evelyn, and she's got her son, Marcus. He's like the middle child. He's sitting down on the ground, and he is like in distress, like he's sick or he's in pain or something. She starts rummaging through, pill bottles, and she finds something and gives him one. Regan walks up and is concerned. Evelyn signs, he's okay. So Regan goes back to Bo, who is drawing on the floor with crayons or something. And this little guy, I don't know, he's got to be 4 or 5 years old, but he's signing, and he signs, Rocket. And Regan signs, good job. And then Bo's like, that's how we'll get away. And Regan gets a look like, yeah, right. And then Bo reaches up onto the shelf and pulls down a toy of a space shuttle and drops it. Regan dives and catches it at the last second, just before it hits the floor. It's like, oh!
Jeez.
They both look up. Daddy's home. John Krasinski. His name's Lee, and he signs to Bo, go find your mother. So Bo runs off, and we see that Lee is packing a bag with like surveillance cameras and other like radio parts and stuff like that. And Regan's like, is this for the radio? Yeah, it should increase the frequency. And also here, this is for you. And he holds up a little multi-tool, which is like a pair of pliers. You can fold it out and a pocket knife, shit like that. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, yeah. Evelyn walks up and signs, hey, it is going to be dark soon. We need to go. And then they all turn around, and there's Bo holding the space shuttle toy. We see that it has batteries in it.
Oh, God.
And he's just like holding it, looking at them all. And they all act like he's holding a bomb and a lighter. And Lee has to like put his hands up like, wait, okay, I'm coming towards you. And he gets the toy out of his arm and pulls out the batteries and sets them down. Then he looks at the little boy and he signs, I'm sorry, it's just too loud. And then he walks out of the store. Everybody walks out of the store except for Regan and Bo. Regan picks up the space shuttle, hands it to Bo, and then puts her finger up to her lips like, shh. And Bo's like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And then Regan leaves. So what do you think Bo does? He picks up the batteries and goes with him.
What?
Yeah. This is pretty much my one giant complaint about this movie. Is throughout the rest of the film, they're all so smart. Like, they don't pull a lot of stupid-ass decisions like people do in, like, horror movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But you got a little boy in this world where monsters get you if you make noise. And he is not right in front of you the entire time, holding your hand. That's on you, man. So I was like, oh, man, dummies. And they leave. They would start walking down the middle of the road. And they are walking, they're all barefoot, and they're walking in sand that they have obviously poured there. Like they poured a path into town that they could walk on and it would be soft.
Yeah.
So they're walking through the woods, walking on train tracks. There's a whole lot of that in this movie. All you hear is trees and crickets, man. And you're like, man, I want some popcorn. So they're following this sand path and they get to a bridge that goes over a river. So all we hear is river noise. Okay? And every time the camera focuses on Regan, it is totally silent.
Yeah.
Like this movie shows the difference between being quiet and being deaf.
Okay.
Because she's at a major disadvantage here. Not just with her family, but she can't hear the monsters if they're around.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like, she doesn't know when she's making noise.
Right. So the dad is carrying Marcus, who's sick, right? And he's in front, and then there's Evelyn, and then Regan, and behind her is Bo. So we see the dad walking with Marcus, and all of a sudden we hear, boop, 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 boop. And he stops, and he turns around. They're all looking at Bo, who is standing there with the space shuttle, and it's like blinking and making all this noise. Regan has no idea this just happened. She just sees her family in front of her looking like, oh, shit. She turns around, sees it, just puts her hand over her mouth, and the dad drops Marcus and just starts running for Bo. He looks off into the woods on the right, and yep, there is a creature coming, and it is running fast as hell, dude. Bo is just standing there like, flying the space shuttle, yeah. His dad is just about to get to him, and then that monster just swings into frame and takes him.
Damn.
And then the screen goes black and it says, A Quiet Place.
It's fucking tragic, man.
Yeah. Day 472.
Oof.
We see Regan, and she is just laying somewhere on the ground in the sand. She can't hear anything, but we kind of hear what she feels like. She sits up, and there's her mom coming with like an armload of laundry or something, and she waves her hand like, come on, come on. And then we just cut to that same shot, but we're seeing it on a closed-circuit camera monitor. And we see that we're now in a basement under the farm that they live on. And Lee is there watching them. The camera pans back and we see like this is his little inner sanctum. He's got all of these monitors where he can see the whole farm. He's also got a radio, like a shortwave radio.
Mm-hmm.
And the walls are covered in newspaper headlines that say like, alien invasion.
Oh, God.
And don't make any sound. Go underground. Find an ash to pound. We read that these creatures are blind, but they have super sensitive hearing. Now we see a whiteboard, and we've got Lee's own notes, and he's got stuff written on there like, how many in area? 3 confirmed. And then he's got a big question that just says, what is their weakness? And we see what he's doing, and he is got a pair of headphones on, beeping out Morse code like real super quietly. Systematically trying every radio frequency he knows of. He's like reading it off a list. Can't hear nothing back, crosses that one off. We see Marcus, and he is in a broke-down pickup truck that's at the top of the hill, overlooking the farm. And he's like pretending to drive it, you know, like shifting the gears and pumping the pedals. But, it's dead, so it's not making much noise. Dad shows up, and Marcus goes back to the farm. Now Lee, he goes up on top of the grain silo that's at the top of the hill. He's looking down at his farm. He's got like corn growing. He's got crops. Mm-hmm. Okay, he is a farmer. Like this was their home. And there's strings of lights going all over the farm. And someone turns them on, and they are white. We see we've got a farmhouse and also a barn. Now, each of these things has a basement. Okay, remember that. This is important for later. The basement that he was in with, the camera monitors and stuff, that's the basement of the farmhouse where they actually live.
Okay.
Marcus goes into the barn and then travels into that basement, and that's where Mom is, and she is hanging a mobile, and you're like, what? And then the camera pans down, and we see she is big ol' prego.
Shit.
Like, man, how are you going to deal with this?
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
Dad's up on top of the grain silo, and he is going through a cigar box that's full of things that Bo played with and owned, and there's pictures of him and stuff, and he's just sitting up there crying. And then he lights a fire on top of the silo, and I was like, what, is he burning the stuff? But no, it turns out it's a signal fire, because he looks off in the distance all around him, and other silos light fires as well, but they're real far away. So they're not the only ones left on Earth.
Yeah.
By any means. Mom down in the barn basement, which is going to be a nursery, obviously, she pulls out an oxygen tank and then hooks up some airline to it and a little mask for a little infant, okay? And then lays it in the crib in a little box with some teddy bears and stuff. And we see that Reagan is in there too, and she is plastering newspapers on the walls. Like they're soundproofing the basement. Cuts to a little bit later, and the mom has cooked a fish in the floor somehow. I don't know how. She just opens up a board in the floor and pulls a cooked fish out of it. And there's like smoke coming out. I don't know. All right. I don't know how it doesn't burn the house down.
Yeah.
But this did make me think, how do they have electric power? And if they do have power for the lights and the camera monitors and the radio, what's so loud about cooking the fish in the oven?
I think in the ground it's like coals. Does that mean it's quieter? I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool, but how do they have power? Because if it's a generator and these monsters take out a space shuttle toy,
Yeah.
they would take out this generator.
What about the power station?
That's got to be making noise too, right?
Does it?
I would assume they do.
Okay.
Maybe he's got the generator underground.
Here you go.
I feel like that's what John Krasinski would say. Because what do you got, like 1 or 2 guys running the power station? I don't think that's possible. They did it in the stand, but I didn't think it was possible there either. Takes like 100 people to do that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, they sit down to eat the floor fish, and she serves it to them on big lettuce leaves instead of plates. And they all sit around the dinner table, and they join hands and pray, each silently to themselves. And then they start eating, and it's the quietest dinner you ever heard.
Yeah.
They eat only soft foods, like fish and bread. No forks and knives. Now, there is some tension between Reagan and her dad, because the mom had motioned to Reagan, go tell your dad it's dinner time. And Reagan was like, no, please, no. Go! So she walks into Lee, and she just signs, dinner. And he signs, thank you. But there's definitely some love lost. Because, you know, she killed her brother. Later that night, the kids are playing Monopoly, and they're on the floor on a rug, and the Monopoly pieces are all like cut pieces of felt and fuzzy balls.
Yeah.
You know how important fuzzy balls are when you play Monopoly. And then the boy knocks over the lantern, and it goes, psh, and then it starts to burn. Oof. Lee lands on Boardwalk, and he buys that shit.
Oh, damn. That's a table flipper if I've ever heard one.
I know, right? And then he puts out the fire. He covers it with a blanket, and then they all just stop and wait. And a long time goes by, and then all of a sudden, boom, on the roof. Ugh. Lee stands up, and he's like walking along. He's like tracking where it is on the roof, and he goes over to the window. Reagan goes to follow him, and he turns and puts his hand up like, nope, you're a baby killer. You don't get to see.
Oh, shit.
Jeez.
So then Lee's waiting at the window, and he's looking up. And then a couple of raccoons jump off of the roof like it was them the whole time. And he's like, oh. He turns to Marcus, who knocked over the lamp, and Marcus signs, sorry. But then we stay with the coons as they are jittering and frolicking about in the darkness of the farm.
Aww.
Nice, peaceful night. They're both walking together like they're a mated pair. And they're like, and then a big claw reaches out and just smashes one into pulp.
Shit.
Cuts to Lee, the dad, in his basement in the farmhouse, you know, his workshop, and we see him soldering little pieces onto a broken cochlear implant, which I might add the girl is no longer wearing because it broke. Mm-hmm. He thinks he's got it, and he turns it on, and we just hear eeeeee. And then his wife's hands come down onto his chest from behind. Remember, she's pregnant. Damn. They still fuck.
Well, who wouldn't fuck Emily Blunt, even if she were carrying septuplets?
You know what? Agreed.
She's also wearing earbuds. He turns around. He's got a big bushy beard. He looks into her eyes and he signs, beautiful. And then, without signing, she just inflates her cheeks like, I'm fat. And he signs, well, I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't say that. And then she pulls him out of the chair and then puts one earbud in his ear. And all of a sudden the music gets really loud. And it's, you know, I can't remember what it is. Some love song. But they dance. And it's nice.
Gee, let me think. Sure.
And then afterwards they got some sad looks on their faces like, man, we are fucked. Day 473. Lee is doing what you do.
Jerking off?
And spreading sand. Fresh sand on the path. Where's he getting all this sand? Evelyn is down in the nursery, and she is taking some vitals and recording everything. You know, she's writing it down, putting stuff on the calendar. And we see she is monitoring her own pregnancy. And it looks like she's really got her shit together.
Damn.
We see her due date is like 2 or 3 weeks away. She pulls out the stethoscope, and we finally hear the baby's heartbeat. And it's like, dum, 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 dum. It's an alien baby! And she closes her eyes like, oh. And I don't know if she's just in love with the sound of, you know, her unborn child, or if she can hear something, you know? Regan steps into the house. Now, the front door is like always open or it's gone. I don't know. But the doors are like always open to these buildings. So you don't have to open it and make noise.
Right.
She tiptoes into the house, and there are paint marks all over the floor where the floor doesn't creak.
Jeez.
So she's got to stay on them. She goes to the door of the basement in the house where, he's got his workshop. She's looking down the stairs. Stairs have paint marks on them too. And she is just about to step down when something jumps in and grabs her. But it's just her dad, Lee.
Oh.
And he signs to her, you can't go down there. She signs back, I am not a baby. And he signs, just don't. Like, he doesn't say a lot to her.
Yeah.
Can't bring himself to do it. She storms out of the house and he follows her and he pulls out the cochlear implant that he just finished working on. And he starts signing, look, I did some stuff to this. I think it'll increase the frequency. And then she signs, it won't work. And he signs, no, I think it's okay. And then she signs, it never works. And she is mad. He tries to physically put it on her and she just signs, stop. And he's like, whoa, okay. And then he just opens her hand, puts the implant in her hand, and then just like backs off with his hands up like, all right, jeez. But, you can tell he's in pain.
Yeah.
And watching it, man, you're like, man, this is sad.
For real. I'm getting It Comes at Night vibes from this movie.
This is what I wanted It Comes at Night to be. This is It Comes at Night with a payoff.
All right.
Evelyn is sitting down with Marcus, and she's like teaching him school. And, school sucks.
Yeah.
Especially when your mom is teaching you. I mean, that's gotta really suck. Lee walks in, and he signs, time to go. And he has got a backpack with a big old fishing net on it. So it's time to go out and provide. Mm. Marcus looks at Evelyn and he signs, please don't make me. She signs back, it's fine. Your dad will protect you always. And she signs, he wants you to learn how to do this stuff so that you can take care of yourself. So that you can take care of me. When I'm old and gray and have no teeth. And he's like, Now they're outside and they're about to leave, and Marcus signs to his dad, I don't want to go. He signs, there's nothing to be scared of. Marcus signs, of course there is! Regan walks up and she signs, I want to go. Please take me. Can I go?
After that shit with the ear implant? Come on.
Yeah, I know, right? Lee signs, no, I need you to stay here with your mother. And Regan is pissed. So she storms off. Evelyn just looks at Lee like, nice work. And he signs back, next time. So they leave. Now we see Regan. She goes into her bedroom. And it's like full of pillows and stuffed animals, stuff that would maybe deaden sound.
Yeah.
And she's mad. She like threw her implant onto the bed and then she thinks better of it and she puts it on. And then she turns it on and we actually hear it go like, and there might be, maybe she can hear now. She puts her hand up to her ear and snaps, but it's totally silent.
Ah.
Yeah. And then she does it again and a third time. And I was like, what are you doing? So it doesn't work. And then she just sits down and silently sobs. I say again, this movie is quite sad. Then she's like, screw this. She gets up, starts packing a bag. She's out of here. Better to go live with the monsters. She goes over to a drawer and opens it up, pulls out a cloth-wrapped item. We don't see what it is. She puts that in the bag. Then she picks up her tool that her dad gave her. Then we just cut to the river, and it is loud, man, and it is assaulting in the theater. So there's Lee and Marcus, and Lee has traps set up in the river, just laying in the river. And he walks up to one, he opens it up, and then just reaches his hands in and gently pulls a fish out. He brings the fish over to the riverbank where Marcus is standing, and he goes to put it on a rock and maybe kind of smush it to death. Mm. When it's like flopping around and it gets away. All right, but when that happens, it's loud. And Marcus goes to run. And then Lee grabs him and he's like, wait. And he signs, listen. And all you hear is the river. And he signs, the river is loud. It's only big sounds that are unsafe. Unless you have a bigger sound next to you. Then the monsters cannot hear you. They can't hear the noise that you make. And Marcus, he doesn't want to buy it. But, okay. And then Lee signs, you know what? I want to show you something. We see Regan leaving the farm, and she is walking away, walking on the sand path. Now we see Evelyn, who is down in the basement, and she's packing up a big burlap sack full of laundry. She's walking up the stairs. It's all quiet. And then the bag catches on something on the stairs. It catches on the head of a nail. And she's like, trying to pull it. Finally, she pulls it free, and she stumbles forward a little bit and catches herself, which of course makes a little noise. So then she stops and she waits and she listens. She's like, oh shit. And then nothing happens. So she goes on upstairs. Camera pans down and we see she has pulled the nail a couple of inches out of the board. And now it's just sticking up in the middle of one of the steps.
Oh, Jesus.
Now we see what Lee's going to show Marcus. There's a waterfall. And man, if you thought the river was loud, this fucker is loud. They walk behind the waterfall. And Lee just howls. He's just like, woo! Marcus freaks out. He's like, oh, no, no. And then Lee gets down and physically says to him, no, it's all right. It's all right. I promise. They cannot hear us from behind this thing. And then Marcus howls too. And it's pretty cute.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been able to talk in months, Now, a lot of people are saying, why don't they just live at the waterfall? And I guess, they probably should. Or at least, why is Lee the only one that knows about this?
Yeah.
Like, they should all go to the waterfall for like a while each day so they can talk.
Yeah.
But they don't. Evelyn's outside hanging laundry, and then she gets a sad look on her face, and man just drops that laundry and just walks back inside. She goes up to a bedroom in the house, and it's obviously Beau's bedroom, and she just sits down and starts crying silently. It's only been 400, days.
Yeah.
We see Regan, and she is on a mission, baby. She's just walking with a purpose. So behind the waterfall, where they can now actually talk to each other, Marcus says to his dad, why didn't you let her come? Do you blame her? Do you blame her for what happened, Dad? We cut back to Regan, and we see where she's going. She's gone to the bridge. And at the front of the bridge, right where Beau died, there is a cross driven down into the middle of the path. And it's covered in, like, photos of him and the family and little toys.
Uh-huh.
While this is happening, you can still hear the conversation between Marcus and his dad. And Marcus is like, because she blames herself, okay? She does blame herself for Beau's death. We see Regan pull the little cloth-wrapped item out of her bag. She unwraps it. It's the space shuttle toy.
Dang.
Yeah. She pulls out the tool that her dad gave her, and she cuts the wires to the speaker and then turns it on. So all it does is blink. And then she sets it down at the base of the cross. And it's like, man.
For real.
Marcus says to Lee, you still love her, right? Of course I do. Well, then you should tell her, Dad. So now it cuts to them leaving, and they're walking back through the woods. And they're being quiet, walking on the sand, okay? And they pass an abandoned, overgrown house. And it kind of scares Marcus a little bit. Like, there's no other people here, right? Mm-hmm. Other people means noise. And he stops and he stares at it for a little while and lets it worry him. And he's like, he sees that his dad has walked on. So he kind of runs forward. And he's just like watching his feet on the sand when he just runs right into his dad. He looks up. His dad is just standing there looking over to the right. Over to the right is an old man, alive and just standing there staring at him.
Oh, shit.
At the old man's feet is his dead and ripped up wife.
Ugh.
And we see the old man's face, and he's obviously grieving, like he has obviously just found her. Or it's just happened, okay? Right in front of him, maybe? And he's like, he looks at Lee, and Lee just puts his fingers to his lips and goes, shh, like, please, man.
Yeah.
And then the old man is just like, Lee just picks Marcus up and runs away from this guy. And yep, we see this monster in the forest, and it's all, so far we haven't really gotten a good look at them, but they're big and they're fast. And it's coming through the forest. Robin Hood and Little John are running through the forest. Lee drops to the ground with Marcus and puts his hand over Marcus's mouth, who is wanting to scream very badly.
Yeah.
And then Marcus puts his own hands over his own ears. And he's just like, shaking his head. And Lee's just like, no, Now we hear the monster. It comes and takes that old man down. And just with one swipe of its giant clawed arm.
Yeah. So it just swipes him and then keeps on running?
It just swipes him and then we cut away.
Yeah.
We are unclear if these monsters are hunting for food or if they just don't like sound.
Okay.
Like, why do they kill? We don't know yet. Cuts back to the farmhouse. Now it's nighttime, and Evelyn's walking around the house. She's being all quiet. And then she stops, looks down between her feet, and her water has just broken.
Shit!
And she's like, oh, and she has to go downstairs. She's on the second floor of the farmhouse. Remember, if she's going to have this baby, she needs to be in the nursery, okay?
Yeah.
The soundproofed nursery, underground. And she starts going into labor, man. And you can see that it hurts. Emily Blunt did a great job, I think. Maybe it's because I don't know much about labor. Yeah. But, it's convincing to me.
Yeah.
So she's just got to keep it together. So she goes down to the basement, okay? The one with all of the screens and all of the power, okay? Steps on the nail.
Son of a bitch.
Does not scream out. But, oh man, like, Emily Blunt, she acted this out real good. You can tell it was so much pain, okay? But she didn't step off of it. She just stepped right down onto it and froze.
I'm all tingly.
Yeah. But she was carrying a picture frame in her hands, and she dropped it, and it crashes on the ground.
Oh, shit.
So she's like, and then she has to slowly lift her foot off of the nail. Okay. So then she goes further down the stairs onto the floor and she's just leaving bloody footprints. Okay. She hobbles over to this power box on the wall and pulls a switch from white to red. And when she does that, all of the string lights all over the farm, they all turn red. So that Lee will know that there's trouble.
Right.
So that's why she had to go to that basement. Now she needs to get to the nursery. So she goes back to the stairs, looks up. There is a monster in the house.
Holy shit.
We just see it walk right past the doorway. And there's a big crash. It's in there. And now it's just walking around the house, hunting whatever made the noise.
Yeah.
She goes over to a pile of Lee's crap, in his workshop. She's digging through it, pulls out a vibrator.
Right now?
Yeah, she looks at it. She's like, well, not now. So then she picks up an egg timer, okay?
Oh, okay.
So she holds on to it, and then she just stops. And she has to breathe through a contraction, man. Outside, Lee and Marcus, they're walking up the hill. They pass the silo and the dead truck. And then they see the farm down below, and all the lights are red. And they just start running to the farm. Evelyn, still down in the basement, hears all this clicking above, like, boom, 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 boom. And then, ba-bloom, ba-bloom, ba-bloom. It comes down the stairs. And we can see it in the background, all right? And man, like, this is pretty scary. We get a better look at it than we did before, but it's still pretty subdued, okay? We can see that it's got 2 legs and 2 arms, but they're real long, so it is kind of spidery looking.
Yeah.
And then we see its mouth, and it has got venom fangs. Like just a mouthful of 2-inch teeth. And it stops, okay? And it's standing there, and it's got these fangs and these big claws. And then its head, okay, kind of opens up a little bit. Like parts of it open up, and we see pink flesh inside, like under the armor, okay? And the sides of its head open up, and we can see these big, powerful pink ears, okay? And we get a close-up shot of them, and they're like listening.
Yeah.
But they're pink, so And then on the other side of the basement, bing, the egg timer goes off, and the monster just goes for it and starts trashing, the area that it's in, looking for whatever's making this noise. As soon as it starts doing that, Evelyn just runs up the stairs. She goes to run outside, sees another one outside. She's like, ah!
Damn.
So she has nowhere to go but up, and she goes upstairs into the bathroom. Outside, Lee and Marcus stop, and Lee looks at Marcus and he signs, you? Rockets. Marcus signs, no, don't leave me. Lee signs to him, look, man, I need you to go and make sound to protect your mother, okay? She needs you. You can do this. And he hands him a flashlight. And Marcus is just like, And he nods, okay. And he runs off. Evelyn climbs into the bathtub. Nothing else to do, right? She's having a baby. Mm-hmm. So she's laying in the tub, and we just see her feet, and then blood starts to run down the drain. Oof. Not from her feet. And then this monster starts coming up the stairs, and it's like clawing on the walls, looking for whatever's in here. Evelyn grabs a blanket and just covers her crotch. Maybe for the smell. We see her in the tub in the foreground, and in the background, yep, there is a monster right there outside the bathroom door. Marcus goes to this, I guess, a planned spot where there's a cigar box buried. He opens it up. There's a lighter, and he's like, all right. Back in the bathroom, this monster is just about to get Evelyn, who is in full-on labor at this point, and she's just trying not to cry out, okay? Yeah. And then, boom, outside, fireworks in the sky. Big ones, like big professional mortars, okay, start going off. The monster's like, Wah! And it just runs out of the house. Right then, Evelyn just lets go and just screams. We see Lee, and he is in the barn. He pulls out his own wrapped package, opens it up, shotgun, baby. He loads it.
Yes.
So he runs in the house, and he goes upstairs. He sees the giant claw marks in the wall, and it's like, oh, shit. He goes into the bathroom. Blood in the tub. You find some blood in the tub. Blood in the tub. Find some blood in the tub. But no wife. So his wife just got eaten, and he's like, and then he just sinks down against the wall and just starts silently crying, just sobbing his ass off. And then, boom, a bloody hand on the glass shower door. And he opens it up, and there is Evelyn with their newborn baby.
Oh,
in her arms. So he pulls her out of the shower, and then it cuts to Marcus walking back to the farmhouse, like through the corn, and then off in the corn. He can hear "He who walks behind the rows." So he freaks out, and he just starts running. Remember, he's got a flashlight with him. We could still hear this monster off in the corn, and like maybe it's chasing him now. Anyway, it doesn't matter because he runs right into the tractor that's parked in the middle of the corn, hits it, knocks himself out.
Jesus. Probably for the best.
Indeed. So Lee is carrying Evelyn, who is holding the baby. The baby is being quiet so far. And I'm like, nope. He carries her across the yard and into the barn, where the nursery is underground. And he makes it into the barn when the baby starts crying. And he just freezes, turns around, and one of the monsters just slowly starts walking into the barn. Oof. So he runs down the stairs and pulls a mattress over the opening. We can hear the monster up there like knocking stuff around while Lee takes the newborn baby out of Evelyn's hands and puts it in this little box that they have put together for, a makeshift crib. And this baby is crying its ass off. And then he puts this little oxygen mask over the baby's mouth. Okay? Turns on the O2 and then puts a lid on the box and closes it. Oof. And I was like, oh, okay. So now you can't hear that baby crying, and he's got oxygen. He's okay.
Yeah.
But I was like, damn, dude, that is smart. Now it cuts to Reagan walking home. She's in the corn. It was her the whole time. No, I'm just kidding. Because she actually bends down to like tie her shoe or something like that, and a monster just walks out of the corn and is standing right behind her. Like neither of them know the other is there.
Yeah.
Ooh. It is crazy. It's one of those moments where you're like, oh no! The monster opens up its ear flaps and it starts like listening. And her cochlear implant actually picks that up. So her implant starts going, and then the monster picks that up and it's like, wah! She starts tapping on her implant and then it just goes, wee! And the monster goes crazy and starts like, blah, 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 and runs away.
Oh, geez.
She never even knew it was there.
Oh.
Yeah, whoa. That all happened behind her back.
Whoa.
So now Evelyn wakes up and finds Lee just sitting there next to her, and she actually speaks to him. She, kind of quietly, but she speaks, and she's like, "Where are they? Where are the kids?" And he's like,
Shut your fucking mouth!
and she's like, Marcus, where is Marcus?" And he says,
Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
That's so wrong.
and she doesn't get it. And then he says, "Well, where's Reagan?" And then she's like,
Would you shut the fuck up?
so they're just telling each other to shut the fuck up. And then the baby starts like cooing in the little apple crate.
Yeah.
And she says, "It's a boy." And Lee's just staring at the crate, and he's like, "It's a boy." And then Evelyn just starts crying. And she's like, I could have carried him. I could have carried him. He was so small, but he was heavy. And I had the pack on, and the pack was heavy, but my hands were free, and I could have carried him. I should have carried him. You have to stop. She just looks at him and says, "Who are we if we can't protect them? We have to protect them. You have to protect them. Promise me. Promise me now." Regan is running through the corn, and she sees a flashlight in the distance at the tractor. She goes, picks it up. There is no Marcus there. And she's like, And then her foot gets grabbed from underneath the tractor. And she's like, and it's Marcus.
Nice.
We see Lee moving the mattress aside and quietly climbing out of the basement. The nursery. And he walks outside to go and find the kids. Now, the inside of the barn is trashed, okay, from the monster looking for him. Mm-hmm. Camera pans over, and we see there is a broken water pipe that is just flooding the barn. Where's all that water going to go?
Into the basement.
Into the nursery. So he runs back into the farmhouse, goes downstairs to look at the video screens to try to find his kids, and he can't find them anywhere, man. Turns out they're on top of the grain silo, burning a fire to get their dad's attention. Like, they're smart kids,
Yeah.
But it keeps going out, and they keep running out of lighter fluid, so they can't keep the fire going. And they're signing at each other. And Marcus is like, "Don't worry, he'll come." And Regan's just shaking her head. She signs, "We have to go." The nursery is now flooded.
Oof.
Evelyn actually wakes up again. She kept passing out. She just had a baby. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
She wakes up. The little crate with the baby in it is not next to the bed anymore, because now next to the bed is a swimming pool. And it's like, oh, shit. I hope that box can float. She looks across the nursery, sees the box floating, but there's no movement, and there is no sound. And then a monster comes down the stairs, and it's like in the water.
Jesus.
The baby is between her and the monster, and then the monster just goes underwater. So she's like in full silent panic mode, okay? And she has to slowly climb down into the water, and just as quietly and slowly as she can, she walks up to the crate. The baby is in there. Baby is okay. Mm-hmm. She picks him up, and then right in front of her, up out of the water, comes the monster, and it's all these teeth. So she just slowly backs up, and she backs up to the wall that is right behind the falling cascade of water that's flooding the nursery. And the monster comes right up to the water, and it's got its flaps open, and it's listening for her. And then we cut to Regan and Marcus up on the silo, and they're still signing to each other. They're still arguing about whether or not they need to leave. When all of a sudden, Marcus falls through a trap door in the top of the silo that just opens up under his weight, and he falls down into the corn that's inside the silo.
Oh.
And when that door opened up, it was loud. It's this big, huge metal door. He falls down in there, and then one of the doors swings and falls off and heads for Marcus.
Oh, God.
Okay, it nearly cuts him in half, and he is already starting to drown in the corn, okay? He's like sinking into it. It's like quicksand. I've been told that all kids on a farm are all told to stay away from the silos.
Oh, man.
Because they're pretty dangerous places. Like, that can really happen. The monster in front of Evelyn heard it and leaves. Out in the field, Lee heard it too, so he turns toward the silo. He's like, "Oh, man, my kids are there." And then he hears coming up behind him. He turns around. That monster runs right past him. So close he could have touched it.
Jesus.
Yeah. Reagan, she is a good big sister. She jumps down into the silo to save her brother who's drowning in the corn. She pushes the door over so that it's like laying flat on top of the corn, and he's able to grab it. And then she starts drowning and sinking in the corn. So he gets up on top of the door, and he's reaching in. He can't get her. And yeah, man, like she's gone. And then at the very last second, yep, he gets her hand and he pulls her out. So it's like, woo! So now they're both sitting on top of this silo door, on top of this corn, and they're like, okay. Yeah. And then boom, the monster falls down into the corn.
Oh, man.
And Regan pulls the door up on top of them. So they're just laying on top of the corn with the door on them, like the kids in Jurassic Park with the window from the, T-Rex.
Yeah.
And the monster knows they're there. So it's like punching through the steel with its claws. And man, it is scary. It's like right there. And it's got its flaps open. It's listening for him. It's screeching. And then her cochlear implant starts going haywire again. Eee! And she she touches it again. It goes, wee! And then the monster's like, wah! And just runs out the side of the silo and makes this big giant hole.
All right.
Yeah. So we might have found a way to fight it, right? So it shows them just jump out that hole and escape the silo. They're running in the darkness and they run right into Lee. So they're all hugging each other. He's like, oh yeah, finally, I found you. And then the monster is still there. It's somewhere off in the brush. They can just hear it. So he's like, shh. He looks at them. Remember, they're up on top of the hill where the broken truck is. And he points at the truck. So they go real quietly. And Marcus actually climbs into the truck and Regan climbs underneath it. Lee walks over slowly to like a lean-to where there's a bunch of tools and everything. And he picks up a pickaxe. And he's like, all right. He knows he's probably going to have to fight this thing. And then he can hear it up on top of the roof above him. So he walks out real slow. And then the camera pans up. And we see the monster is already right there at the edge, like it knows where he is. He figures that out at the last second. And without even looking up, he just swings the pickaxe up. Too late. He gets swiped by the monster. And he flies off into the dark.
Fuck.
Marcus sees it and he just yells out, Dad! Evelyn heard that from the barn, so she knows there's trouble. Regan climbs out from underneath the truck and jumps into the truck with Marcus, and she's like trying to quiet him down. And then his eyes get really wide and just point behind her. She looks back. Here comes the monster, crashes right into the window, and is now on top of the truck, like shaking it back and forth. And you know what? These two are fucked. Lee, who is all like broken and bloody, kind of comes to, and he gets up like, oh, fuck. All right, shit. And he sees that happening. This monster is about to kill his other two children. And he just stands up. He's still holding the pickaxe. And then he just drops it on the ground. And then the monster freezes and opens up his flaps and is listening for him. Regan looks out the back window of the truck, looks right into her father's eyes. He sees her, and then he signs to her. He signs, I love you. I have always loved you. And Regan just starts tearing up. And then Lee just goes, ah! Monster goes and gets him, takes him down, kills him.
Damn.
Sacrificed himself for his kids. Regan is crying, and Marcus, he ain't wasting no time. He pops the parking brake on the truck, and it just starts rolling down the hill towards the farm. It actually gets some pretty good speed going. Evelyn walks out the front of the farmhouse, and the truck just rolls right up and crashes into something. They get out. She's grabbing them. She knows Lee is dead. They know Lee is dead. Man, it is sad, but they can hear the monster coming down the hill. So she grabs the kids and pulls them into the house, and they go down into the basement. Now, this is the kid's first time in this basement, with all the security cameras and everything and his radio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we take some time with Regan. The movie goes all silent, and she's looking around the room. She's looking at all of these headlines. She's looking at the security camera monitors. Okay, she sees this monster coming. She sees where he has been working on all of these cochlear implants. Okay, like trying to fix it so that she can hear. And she just starts crying, man. Like her dad loved her so much the whole time. Like that's what he's been spending so much time on. So she's crying, and I'm just like, Jesus, this girl breaks my heart, man. Evelyn walks over to her. She knows what's going on. So she grabs her, and they just hold each other and cry. And then, there is a monster in the house. And it just comes lumbering down the stairs, like already, okay? Marcus, now he has got the newborn baby, and he runs into the corner. Baby's, quiet for now. Evelyn, who Lee left the shotgun with, she just aims the shotgun at this thing. And now, we get a really great look at this monster, and it's just in the middle of the room, and it's looking around. It opens up its ear flaps, and it's listening, and it hears the hiss from one of the TVs, which is all staticky snow, and then it just swipes the TV and breaks it. That's how I know a generator wouldn't survive. Regan is just standing there silent. She can't hear any of this going on. And she's just looking, and now she zeroes in on her dad's notes. Particularly, what is their weakness? And then she looks down at the cochlear implants on the desk. The monster's still there. He is, he's got his ear flaps open. He's listening for him. She touches her own cochlear implant, and it starts to go, wee. The monster's like, "Rrr, rrr, rrr." It's agitating it. Evelyn's watching this happen, and she kind of figures out what's going on at the same time as Regan, who then looks over and sees the microphone for the shortwave radio. Right then, the baby starts crying, and the monster's like, and turns to it. Regan rips out her cochlear implant and puts it right up to the microphone. Whee! The monster's like, wow! And really starts freaking out. Actually, so much so that it just falls over backwards and stops moving.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
She took it out. Then her and her mom are looking at each other like, holy shit. Hell yeah. Then the monster gets up. And as it does that, it totally opens up all of its flaps, and it is just about to pounce on them when, boom! Evelyn blows its head off with the shotgun.
All right.
Yeah, baby. It falls down. It is quite obviously dead now. So they kind of breathe a sigh of relief, and they're like, oh, wow. And Evelyn's looking at Regan like, you genius. And they turn and they look at the security camera screens, and we can see 2 more monsters running across the farm coming to the house.
Shit.
Yeah. And then Evelyn and Regan, they look at each other. Regan goes over to the radio, grabs the volume dial, and click, 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 turns it all the way up. Evelyn holds up the shotgun and then cocks it, and the credits roll, baby.
For real?
That's
Fuck
it.
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Coolest ending I've ever heard.
It was great.
Hell yeah.
That's a good ending. For
Yeah.
real.
Yeah,
That's
man.
it.
I'm telling you.
You're not fucking with us.
This was a good movie, man.
They figured out the weakness, and there doesn't have to be any more movie.
That's correct.
That's a good movie, man.
Yeah, man. I loved it.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Shit.
I was thinking, what if they ended it like this? And they just did.
Yeah.
A bit coincidental, but I'll forgive it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Looks like John Krasinski made a horror classic.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he brought the thunder. He did a good job.
Yeah, wouldn't have thought that from him.
Exactly, right? I mean, right?
Good job, man.
Hey, thank you. Yep, there you go. A Quiet Place on Movies with Ron. What'd you think, Rick?
I thought that was a 4-star Ron retelling of the story.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I enjoyed it. That's cool, man. I want to see this.
Yeah, this was good. Almost no talking in this whole movie, and it is dramatic as hell.
Yeah.
Great job. I paid attention to the girl that played Regan, but the kid who played Marcus, great job as well. Usually when you have kids in your movie, they can screw it up.
Yeah.
Not these kids.
Hell yeah. Good on you, kids.
What was the plot?
What?
A family learns to love again.
There's no finish line. I don't know. Figuring out the weakness?
Yeah, they're going to be okay now.
Yeah.
If they could figure it out, others will figure it out, and we will rebuild.
A good movie. I'm not saying it's bad. But how about some criticism? I'm thinking I Am Legend. We see on the board. What is their weakness? John Krasinski should have been a scientist, trying to find the weakness, testing them.
But he wasn't a scientist. He was a farmer.
You want to be a farmer? Here's a couple of acres.
Finding out that the creatures were hypersensitive to sound.
They knew that from the beginning.
Yeah. I mean,
It was the subsonic frequency.
Yeah. Because here's the deal, is like, their ears, when they would open them up to listen, their ears were going like, a little bit, like making some self-noise, like a normal microphone does, which was then picked up by her cochlear implant and amplified because it is a cochlear implant. And then their microphone ears picked that up. So it made a giant feedback loop.
Ah. So it's like they were hurting themselves.
Yes.
This movie kind of is Tremors.
You know, when he's describing when the ear flaps go up?
Yeah.
Kind of remind me of the sequel when the walking Tremors would that had that flap
They
in
had
the front.
vision.
Yeah, the infrared.
It's going to be big. Big.
I am completely out of ammo.
You didn't get penetration even with the elephant gun.
Man, fucking good, though.
Yeah.
Candy, I can't believe you missed this shit.
Yeah, Canny, this is the one you were waiting for.
You son of a bitch.
It's okay, though. I still love you.
All right, folks, if you're using that Apple Podcasts or iTunes, go ahead and leave us a rating and review. We'd really appreciate it. Follow us on Twitter, @MoviesWithRon. We got a Facebook page. We're on all your favorite podcast apps and movieswithron.com. It's been fun.
Yep, we love you.
Take care.
Movies with Ron.
This movie's about kids and family. Can't put, like, dicks in it. There's one place I was going to put a dick, and that's what the kid was drawing on the floor, but I forgot.
That's how we're going to get out of here.